Hello everybody. There is a moving little story given to us in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, where Jesus has gone aside with his disciples. His disciples wanted to give him some time for himself and to be freed from responsibility and constant ministry. But even whilst he is off with his disciples sitting quietly, we read that mothers bring their children to Jesus simply that Jesus might touch them. And of course the disciples are irritated by this, and the Bible says that the disciples spoke to the women sternly and said, give him a break. And Jesus overhears this conversation, and you remember what he says: let the little children come to me, and don't forbid them, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. And then we read, and he took them up in his arms, and he blessed them. Now what a privilege that must have been. Here was the very Son of God. Here was a man who embodied the very heart and love and mercy and grace and care of God. And just imagine him taking those children. What must have passed into those children's bodies? He didn't just lecture the mothers on how to be good moms. Doubtless there may have been conversation. Now he gets into those children's space and he holds them. He holds them in his arm. And can you imagine the love and the Spirit of God moving into those children? And maybe the tears in the mother's eyes. It's a theme I try to follow this week, the touch of the Master's hand, allowing Jesus to move into our personal spaces. Sometimes I think when we talk doctrines and high-flying Christian theology, we become very transactional in our way of speaking. We speak about our debts having been cancelled, a price having been paid. We use the word ransom, and those are good biblical words, but they are rather impersonal ways of speaking. They suggest that something is going on apart from me. A price has been paid, a debt has been cancelled, that I'm sort of somehow not part of it. There's an arm's length, there's a transaction going on. And this kind of story, where Jesus takes the child in his arms and blesses them, it's like the story of the prodigal son. The key moment in that story, for me, that represents our Christian faith, is when the father, as that boy comes home, runs down the street and he falls on his son. He embraces his son and he kisses him. Now you hold it at that moment. What is Jesus saying? It's not transactional. It's not a contract. It's not something impersonal. This is the father and his long lost and now found son in deep, deep physical closeness. That's the gospel. That's the good news. And in this impersonal world where we all have our ID numbers and people, it seems, don't seem to matter as much as they did in an olden day. It's about Jesus, the touch. Imagine that touching moment. Friends, this is the gospel. This is the God who loves you and who loves us. The touch of the Master's hand. May you know that touch, that close, warm, tender touch this day. God be with you.